How's it going, everyone? So as you can see, back out on the Thunercat. It's a Saturday and the weather is pretty amazing here in Shetland. By that I mean there's just no wind, which as you also know is a rarity. It's just me. I'm going to do some solo diving. I'm obviously going to be taking it easy, doing certain depths and stuff like that, not pushing it. I'm going to go check out some of my usual spots because I've not been finding the fish when I've been going to different spots and new spots and trying new things. So a good gauge for me to know that the fish are in the right places is going to my usual spots where 70% of the time I can shoot fish. So I'm going to go to those spots and check them out. I'm also going to maybe try and hit up a wreck as well, because I've got that orca torch and I definitely want to get in the water and see what's it about a wreck with that thing and put it through at paces. So I'm going to head out around this corner and head up the coast. I'm heading north and get into it. But I've come to my usual spot. It's not actually far outside of Lerwick itself. I'm just going to anchor up here somewhere. I've seen one seal already, and the water is looking quite clear but dark, mainly because it started raining, which I'm not too surprised of really. But I'm going to anchor up. I don't know if you can see the kelp. That's a good sign. Right, let's anchor up. It took me a few dives to find the weed edge that I was wanting to hunt. Now you can see here that the weed is starting to taper off and it goes to big old boulders with lots of scabby man's heads or sea urchins kicking about. Now the pollock around this area seem to just cruising about these rocks. I've still not worked out if it's tidal or how they're hunting or feeding, but potluck, I've shot some really good fish here, so I wanted to give it a go. So I get to the bottom and this is around 15-16 meters and there's plenty of bait fish everywhere. Hopefully I can bump into some monsters. I slowly drag myself along the rocks, keeping my body position really low, and fingers crossed a fish swims out. It's looking pretty bare, but suddenly I see the tail of a big pollock go up behind that rock, so I assumed he was going to come out the top, but he didn't. He double backed and he started coming back towards me. However, I pulled the trigger and I missed. I think I was definitely out of range. I've got my little 90 and I'm in some pretty clear water, and I have not shot in Shetland for a long time. So, time to get my act together. I make my way down a few meters off the location where I actually want to be. I go down streamlined, so I'm using hardly any energy, and once I hit bottom, that's when I start to flatten out. And I'm making my way along the big boulders, trying to keep as low as possible, but also see as much as I can. Once I kind of get to the area that I want to stay behind and use as my cover, I slowly peek up over the boulder to see if there's any fish moving. It doesn't take long before a few fish start moving in, and luckily a fairly decent bollock starts coming straight for me. So I take my time, I eventually start pushing the gun out in front of me, and I pull the trigger, and he goes off. Now I know it's a pretty good shot, but he was very quick reacting there, and he just took the line. Now instead of just dragging it up, I let the reel go, so if he's still under the rock, I'm not dragging him out or damaging the flesh or tearing the spear out. And then a good old breath. Doing deeper and longer dives, especially by yourself, I really push out the recovery breaths and my breaths on surface. And before I even think about having a go at this fish and bringing it up, that's the first thing I do, is get myself sorted, and then it's time to bring him up. And with a quick knife to the head, he's completely finished off. And there you have it, my first fish of 2023 in Shetland. With a fish on the boat, I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm deciding to call this spot a day, and I'm going to go and explore a wreck where I want to try the torch out, and fingers crossed I can get into some fish. Even though leaving the spot is not fun because I've seen some monsters down there. So I've dived here a few times. This is a wreck of the Pioneersk, an old Russian fishing boat or factory boat, and it's pretty shallow and it does go a lot deeper. However, I'm going to have a go around the shallows today and have a right good look at this new torch that I'm testing out by Orca Torch. Wrecks like these are great structures and they're brilliant at holding fish. The problem with this wreck is that there's a lot more life and seabed and kelp beds and areas for these fish that I'm hunting, which are predominantly ling and cod. They're the fish that like to ambush hunt and get amongst the wreck and hide. Now they're going to be scattered over a much larger area instead of, say, having a wreck on a sandy area where the fish will be all around that little spot, because it's the one spot that they can take cover and then they can hunt from. That doesn't mean they're not here. It definitely means that my job of finding them is a lot harder. Now I'm giving it my best look, and I must admit this torch is well up for the game. I'm pretty impressed with it. One day I'm going to come back here and I'm going to plan to dive the deeper parts of this wreck and see if I can get into some fish then. So I've decided I'm going to move spots. I'm actually going to start making my way home, which is all the way in the distance. I do have the fishing rod as well, so I might even get that out and fish some deeper waters. There is a wreck on the way home, so I'm planning to give that a go. And there's also maybe one more spot I want to try and dive. I have a squeaky ear today, so I might not go back in, but I'm planning to. And that's close to home, so I'm going to get this engine fired up. I'm going to make tracks back that way. always looked over to this area, and now I've finally explored it. It's truly amazing. This is Shetland through and through. These cliffs and caves that are just endless. They're everywhere, all along the coast. You could spend days and days and days, and hopefully one day I do get to see all of them. But eventually I get in the water and I do some diving. Unfortunately, I wasn't finding any fish out the mouth of this little area, but what I did come across was a plastic water bottle, and there's no need to have that in there. It could have just washed off a boat here or there, doesn't matter, but it shouldn't be in the water, so I did my part and take it out, which I fully recommend to anybody who's out there diving and spearfishing. Do your part, look after what we love, and get it out of there. With the lack of fish at that spot and some rubbish collected, I headed off to the wreck in a hope of catching a big monster fish. Unfortunately, no matter how many times I spun around and put the weight back down with all the lures, I didn't get a single bite. So I headed off to one last spot to have a little recce mission because it's close to home and I've always wanted to get in the water there.
Said let go.
So I've just come out on the last spot. The water's lovely and clear here. I only done a few dives. I just really wanted to scout this territory because this isn't far away from home. I've seen a few little fish, nothing major, and then I got a little bit of a squeaky ear again, but I'm not fussed because it's been a pretty amazing day. I got my first fish in Shetland 2023, and to be fair, he's not a bad size. There's plenty more there, so it's a spot I'm going to go back to sometime soon, hopefully. But I'm still super eager to have a look at all these new spots basically and see what's out there, because you never know, you might just hit a honey pot and it could just be fish everywhere. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything fishing the deep wreck out there, but you have to try. And I'm still literally just getting back into it after all the surgery and everything and all the crap that I've been through. So today's been the most full-on diving I have done in a long time, and despite the squeaky ear that happens, I dive for work as well, so I get hammered. It's been pretty good, and I'm so happy that I've been out today doing it all. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and all the stuff I've thrown at you, and that we found the fish finally. So I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all very soon.